Sometimes when you're wrong, you just have to come out and say you're wrong.
He's bothered. I'm a botherina.
What's up, everybody? Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. So, here's my thing. One, I've got to admit I was wrong about something. I also have to correct something that I left out. And I also have to update you guys on something that I forgot to tell you completely. Me and Ralph Tutela and the continuing saga of me and Ralph Tutela. I ended up seeing him last week at Chankla's. I forgot to tell you guys last week, but I ended up seeing Ralph. And we had a cool time. Like, we hugged, we talked a little bit of shit. It is what it is. I mean, like, Ralph said something, like, it all turned out for the best or something like that. And you know what? I got to admit, I feel the same way. So I hold no hard feelings about that. We had a good chat. We ribbed each other a little bit. When I say we talk shit, like we did rib each other a little bit. And that, that's what it's supposed to be with comics, in a lot of cases. Like, yeah, sometimes you're real, like, just would rather not fuck with anybody anymore. But Ralph overall is a good guy, and like, it's just what it was. I maybe one day if he's interested, I'll have him on Unbothered and we can talk about it. If he's not, I'm fine with that too. But either way, me and Ralph made good, and that's what a lot of people need to understand is all the things you're trying to make the most important thing in stand-up are not the most important things in stand-up. The most important thing in stand-up is stand-up. Like, that's what it is. So when it's all the other shit, yeah, you can have your I don't like this person or whatever, but what are you going to do? Keep that up forever? Because if you really plan to be a stand-up, and this is something I decided a long time ago, if you're really going to be a stand-up, you have to have at least an okay relationship with pretty much everybody, because the ones that are really going to be around are going to be around. Like, even some of the people that I've been arguing with, some of the people that I really don't pay attention to, that pay attention to me a lot, don't understand the reason I don't really pay attention to them. Yeah, I might reference them once or something like that. I use them as target practice every once in a while online, just to shit on somebody. But a lot of those people aren't going to be around. So when people get too caught up in like, oh, that's my friend, and that's who, really wait 5 to 10 years, because stand-up moves like that. Stand-up will change in a season. All of us that have done stand-up actually know that. So you have your feelings, whatever's whatever, but the main focus should be stand-up. And that's what I'm getting back to, no matter what anybody says. I don't mind talking about people when they do dirty shit, but how long do you think this takes me? Yeah, editing takes me a while, but I have fun with the editing process when I'm really into it, and I don't mind having another skill, and the podcast has to be the podcast. This one isn't going to be a full one. I'm going to try to keep this one like 15 minutes or something like that, because that seems to be a nice bite-sized amount, and I'll do them more frequently for the people that actually want to know what's going on. But what I wanted to say was, when it came to the Kool-aid situation, I left out one of the most important parts, one of the pivotal parts in why he's such a piece of shit. It's not just living with a pedophile. That's bad enough. I mean, like, I agree that is bad enough. There is the fact that whenever you pay to see him, you are paying to help support a pedophile. That's just what it is. But that's not the worst part. Because what allegedly happened, and I forgot to include this last time, was Kool-aid ended up taking his roommate who, was busted with child pornography. So maybe not pedophile, maybe technically you would say child sexual predator is what I was saying the other day. So CSP. Child sexual predator. That's what that'll be. So I can shorten it. So when you take your CSP roommate, because what he did was, one time, Bobby and Crystal, who I've talked about before, who really have a lot of feelings about me, but I very rarely think about them anymore, and I don't think they fully get that. Like, I know they want the spotlight, because they keep, like, referencing me on social media, and friends will send me the screenshots or whatever, but at this point, it's just sad. It's like, don't you guys have kids, and aren't you guys together? Like, why are you still thinking about me? I mention you as a reference every once in a while, like I'm going to mention you right now, because you made yourself a pivotal part of certain stories. That's a lot of peas for these big lips. And so I have to reference you because you were just in the way at a point, which is the best way I can describe Bobby and Crystal. Was comedy-wise, they were in the way in a lot of ways. And I see that now. Like, I was friends with them and I genuinely liked them. And I could like them again, but I still would always think they were overall unnecessary to comedy. I guess even bottom feeders help the aquarium. So maybe not. And maybe I'm being too harsh. But Bobby and Crystal were having some kind of event at their house. They have young kids. I think 4 of them is what they have. And so what happened was Kool-aid took the CSP over to their house. And at a point, the CSP cornered one of the kids in the garage. And then luckily that got interrupted just in time. But what's curious about that is two things. Kool-Aid said that he didn't know at the time that his roommate had that conviction. But I think when you rent a house from somebody, they legally have to tell you, because that's who he rents the house from, is the CSP. And so I think legally they have to tell you, just in case you have kids or you have nephews and nieces or you have an event like that you go to, so that you know that it's a CSP. And so Kool-Aid didn't know that, is what he says. So that doesn't really add up, because afterwards when it turned into a whole thing and Kool-Aid was getting canceled the first time, because I have no doubt he'll get canceled again. Not because I say, just because, that's the way it works when you decide to live with the CSP for a couple of years, because this was a couple of years ago that this happened. And so what happened was they ended up finding out that his roommate was a CSP, and Kool-Aid said that he didn't know. And then now they appear to be supporting Kool-Aid because he's against me, which it would seem, and I could be wrong because I'm not a parent, but it would seem that a person saying some maybe not so nice things about you that you probably deserved and were true anyway, but maybe a person that does that isn't quite as bad, even though I could see how you would struggle with this, but isn't quite as bad as the person that actually put your child in danger with the CSP. So I don't know if that's the way that works or not, but they seem to be bucking real hard for him. So it would seem, if that had actually happened, could it be that they were lying? Could it be that he was lying? Could it be that they both were lying? Because I would say that I know that side of both of them. I would say that they've lied about me a couple of times, so I would imagine that they would have lied about each other, and liars don't mind lies, so they should be fine with each other. I don't know what's going on there. All I know is Kool-Aid did take a CSP over to their house, like that other people have verified, so that did actually happen. It's just whether or not that really happened the way they said, and then they really felt the way they felt. But anyway, so I forgot to mention that. Like, that's why Kool-Aid is, and that's why I don't like hanging out with him, because he's just stupid. You know what I mean? That's why I would never need him for anything or want to be around him. That's why certain people I just don't fuck with. Because, like, if you're stupid enough that you don't know that you shouldn't take your CSP roommate over to a house where there are children, or if you at the base level don't know that you probably shouldn't live with the CSP, no matter how low the rent is. But maybe because you feel like you're single and nobody would ever fuck you, and we all know that, then you feel like it's all right. So I guess live the way that you want to live. Get your cheap rent. What do I care? But that's supposedly the story. So I wanted to let you guys know that that's the reason I consider all of this to be so ridiculous, that, people ask that I not be certain places, but then you're fine with Kool-Aid being there, who obviously put somebody's family in danger. But that's the Las Vegas comedy scene. But what I really want to talk about, the main thing, is when it comes to the trick situation, I have realized that I am wrong. And I'm not being passive aggressive at all. I want you guys to really know how my brain works. Because, like, sometimes people read my Facebook and they'll hit me up and they'll be like, "Are you okay?" And I'm always like, better than ever, bitch. I'm figuring shit out in my head. And technically, I'm thankful to the people that are still holding on to it, because they helped me analyze it better, because like when you think about everything, my shit with Bobby and Crystal, really, even though, like I said, I'll reference it as part of a story, but I don't try to throw them under the bus. Even most recently, what I said on an episode of this is that technically I thought they were good parents, like when I first met them and stuff like that, and the way they handle their kids. And I told Bobby that he should have his own. So what are you still mad about? Yeah, I said some shit you didn't like a while ago. Who cares? Get a life. Get over it. And that's the same for everybody. I mean, like with Kool-Aid, I don't hate him. I just think he's stupid, but also the more I think about things, the more I do see things, like, because there's places where I've been wrong, and I always say that the world isn't going to change to be better. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but there's always going to be certain people that are going to do certain things to trigger you. So, which is what happened. Like, I don't use that language or whatever, but I got triggered when Trix took my joke, I got trixered, just playing. But I got triggered when Trix tried to take my bit, or, I did. But the reason it's important for me to point out the way I feel and what I've progressed to now is because I think Well, I know that people make it seem like I show up places to be hateful, to get on people's nerves, to whatever. But the thing is, I don't really think about things in those terms. Because for me, I let go of stuff and then I start to think about how I can be different, how I can be better, how I can make it so that the next time this doesn't turn into that kind of thing. And the way that I figured it out in my head with tricks, and that's why I say I'm thankful to everybody that's held on to everything, because it made me actually think about it and think about where I'm really at with it and what I would do if I could do it differently. I don't feel like it was a mistake, though, because I feel like everything that's happened has had to happen. So Ralph is right. Things do always turn out for the best, or they did turn out for the best in all of these situations. Well, at least as far as I go. But like my main thing, what I'm trying to say is whenever it's come to people having parallel thinking to me, which parallel thinking can often be mistaken for stealing a joke. For anyone that's not familiar with the way that works, it's exactly like it sounds. Like I think of a joke, another comedian thinks of a joke. We both have the same ideas or the same idea, and we're both working on that joke, and it may be similar. But I've always looked at it this way when it happens in honest circumstances, which I've been doing stand-up for 18 years. So it happens in honest circumstances with people where they'll have an idea and I'll have an idea. And sometimes if they get to it before, they're on stage doing it already and I know it's in my head, but I haven't done it yet, honor system, it's their joke. But if I've already started working on mine and they're working on theirs, say we're in different states, I never knew them, they never knew me, then I'm always like, well, I'm not worried about that because they can keep doing their joke and I can keep doing my joke. And eventually, whoever that joke really resonates with will completely take that joke over and the other will be like, okay, that's just clearly their joke. That's the way I've always seen it as a comic. If you're doing everything on honor system and on the up and up and you just happen to have the same idea as another comedian. And I'll say there are certain comedians that I have hit the same wavelength with quite a bit. And it's usually Matt Claybrooks. He writes for Chris Rock and we're really good friends. We've had a lot of parallel thinking situations. I respect him very much. I look at it as a compliment to my own thinking that I think on the same level as him. And there's other people that it happens with too. And I like those people. I don't have a problem with those people. So my real thing was that I had gotten into it with tricks before. And yeah, the joke thievery, for lack of a better term, was, like it shouldn't have happened. Like we should all just honor system, not do each other's shit. And I laid it out. So I don't like that. I didn't feel like I jumped the gun or it was wrong or whatever. I don't want anybody stealing my bits ever, but this is the way that I come to the way that I work. So since I've always seen it that way, where if you do your version, I do mine, and then whoever will just take it over, even though Trix's intention may have been different, or maybe he didn't even realize he was stealing it. You know what I mean? Maybe he's just so used to stealing. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but when you've been doing something for a long time, it sometimes doesn't even occur to you that you've been doing it. And when I talked to him about the stuff, because I did talk to him once about his reputation for stealing jokes when we were friends, and he's very dismissive of it, just like, he was cool to talk about it as much as he would talk about it, but he wouldn't really go into it. Instead, he was just like, I just don't do the joke anymore. I just don't do the joke anymore, which I made him sound like Large Marge, which I didn't mean to. Anyway, tricks. But yeah, so maybe it is that, or whatever the intention was. Here's the thing for me. Whatever his intention was, whatever it is that's going on in his mind shouldn't matter. If I can do it when it's an honest circumstance, I can do it when it's a dishonest circumstance. So what I really should have done was just been like, I'll keep doing my joke and making it work the way I make it work, and he can keep doing what he does, and the best man will win. Whoever that bit, and I will be, because I'm just the better writer. But that's the way I need to look at it. You know what I mean? And so that's the way I look at it now. And then it's not a big deal for me. So I'm not holding on. And if I could go back and do it differently, which, like I said, I don't regret. So it's not like, oh, I wish I could. But like, if I could go back and do it differently, what I would do is just keep it to myself at that moment. And then at some point when we were friends again, I would give Trix a pep talk and just tell him, you're better than that. Because even though me and Trix got into it or whatever, we were friends for several years. Because 2013, I literally harassed him into moving onto the scene. That's not at all an exaggeration. I mean, like, he was already thinking that way. He was already said he was thinking about it when I originally brought it up to him. Then he upgraded it to I'm in the process. And then, he was in the process. And then that took a while because he's Canada and had to get here. And like the whole time I would give him encouraging. If you look back on my old social media post, you'll see I used to promote where he was going to be. You know what I mean? Like not all the time, but like you'll see if you even scroll my Instagram. So we were actual friends at a point. And I mean, like, I know he's talented. I used to show the people that I would date's a strong word, but I would show them like his clips on Instagram because I really did think he was funny. And all of that stuff seems to be pretty much off the top of his head. I know he does cuts or whatever, but who doesn't and who cares? But like, it's funny, it's good. So it's like you're better than taking other people's jokes. Like, let's all just agree to do our own shit. But I would have probably not even said that now that I think about it, just because that could come off the wrong way. And I know some of this might seem like it's coming off the wrong way, but it's not the way it's meant. It's just I'm a fun person, so I say things in a funny way. And sometimes I have to watch myself because, I feel like I'm going to be insulting to people when really for me it's just about the words and making them work a certain way to be funny so things are entertaining. I do it for myself and for the people that listen or watch, but also just because I think it's fun to have fun with words, and so I would do that. I would like remind myself to not care about this. Like, you're original enough that you can do your own, that other people can like bite off you a little bit if that's what they absolutely have to do. And you'll still be you and you'll still be fine. But I am glad for the way everything happened, just because it's really shown me who it is that has my back and who doesn't. And so in that way, I don't regret what this has been at all. It wasn't at all on purpose. I didn't realize things were going to turn out this way. But I am happy that they turned out this way, just because, like I said, now I know exactly where I stand with everybody. And, I'll continue to do these little clips and have fun and tell you guys about what's going on. And if anything dirty happens, I will tell you guys. But just know I'm not holding hard feelings towards people. I don't care where anybody is. And this isn't a way of having them let me where they're at. I don't want to be where they're at. Like, the people that don't want me don't deserve me, to tell you the truth. I mean, if those people want me, they can pay me because I'll take anybody's money. I still don't care. Like when it comes to that, this is a business. So if one of these people that supposedly hates me just ends up having a gig and they're like, Ty, you would be great for this gig and this is how much it pays. If the price is right and you're going to do everything the way that you're supposed to so that we can do this show, we don't have to talk about anything in the past. Just pay me my money like you would any other comic. Like, that's the way that would work out for me. But the people that want to be like stuck in like, this is the gossip and this is who I don't like because of this and that. Okay, you do that. You completely do that. You have that world and you have those rooms. I'm going to be with the people that are talented and hungry and just looking to get up and looking to get stage time. And I don't care if I have to go to bottom of the barrel open mics. I'll be at Chanclas every week doing my stuff at Chanclas, which I absolutely love. Chanclas did their show tonight. I'm still wearing the shirt I was wearing. It's posted on my Facebook page. What I'm going to do for the Chanclas situation is I'm going to show up every week and I'm going to figure out what 5 or 10 minutes what Jack can afford, not money wise, because I'm just going to go do it just to do it because I want to work on stuff and I want to show you guys kind of the process. But I'm going to take one part from the bit that you'll watch if you go to my Facebook page, and I'm going to make that into an actual bit for next week that's fully fleshed out, because tonight was a bunch of new ideas. I think I did 2 things that were like things I've done before, but I very rarely did them. You know what I mean? I tried them maybe once or twice, but it was like 2 things. But other than that, it was like all new stuff. So I want to show you guys, and not like as anything, just like this is what I do. I'm an actual comic and I want to let you guys, because I feel like it balances things out, because you guys have to put up with my shit, like the drama and stuff like that. But then if I show you that I'm a comedian that's worth it and really willing to work on my stuff and get better, then I feel like everything levels out and you understand why it is I'm the way it is and why it is I have to be the way that I am and why I'm uncompromising in being me. Even if that sometimes makes people uncomfortable, I still have to be me. And so I hope you guys will continue to tune in and see what's going on. And like I said, it'll be juicy when it's juicy and I'll be fun. But I'm not mad at anybody. I don't get it. I just want to be around the people that want to get better. That's what everybody needs to know. Like, they can have those rooms, but I want to be around everybody that wants to get better, everybody that's hungry, everybody that only gives a fuck about stand-up. That's the comics I want to be around. So the rest of you, stay away from me. Leave me alone. I've made it clear. There's nothing for us to talk about. If you want to talk about me on the internet, fine, talk about me. I don't care. Like, that part I don't care, because it's just going to serve as more promotion and get more eyes on me. So you guys keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to be with the fun people. Everybody have an absolutely lovely Thursday. I think I'm going to put this out on Thursday. So have a lovely Thursday, and thank you for watching. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.